My beloved child, there is a quiet moment that arrives in every life without making a sound, a moment so ordinary that most people walk past it without ever realizing it has changed everything. Yet today, that moment has chosen to stand before you. It did not come to confuse your heart or fill your mind with questions. It came because something hidden beneath the surface has finally become ready to be understood. Don't skip. Because every sentence from this point carries a piece of a picture that has been incomplete for far too long. Stay till the end, because something important is waiting for you, and it cannot be understood by hearing only the beginning. There is a reason these words reached you exactly when they did, and that reason is unfolding one quiet step at a time. You have sensed emotions that never seemed to fit together. At times you felt warmth coming from someone who cared deeply, and then, almost without explanation, everything became distant again. It left you wondering whether your heart had imagined what it felt. But your heart noticed something real. Sometimes love does not disappear. Sometimes it simply finds itself surrounded by unfinished chapters that have not yet been gently closed. What appears confusing from the outside often looks very different from within another person's silent world. The one connected to your heart has carried feelings that grew stronger than they expected. Those feelings were never built from a single conversation or a single memory. They formed quietly, almost unnoticed, through small moments that kept returning to them long after the day had ended. Your kindness, your presence, even the simple way you exist has remained with them in ways they struggle to explain. And yet there is another story still lingering beside theirs. Not because it shines brighter than what they feel for you, but because not every page has been turned. This is where many people rush to conclusions, but you are not being asked to rush today. Listen carefully instead. The other woman is not simply another person standing between two hearts. She represents conversations left unfinished, expectations that once felt important, and habits that became difficult to release overnight. Some connections fade quickly. Others take time to gently loosen their grip, even after the heart has already begun walking in a different direction. That difference matters more than you realize. Have you ever noticed how the sunrise never argues with the darkness? It simply arrives little by little until the light becomes impossible to ignore. Real emotional clarity often works the same way. It is rarely loud. It is patient. And patience has been quietly shaping a path that nobody else can fully see yet. There are evenings when your soulmate reflects on everything they tried to convince themselves to feel, only to discover that their thoughts continue returning to you. They compare familiar comfort with genuine connection, and each time that comparison grows a little clearer. They are beginning to understand that affection built from habit feels very different from affection that continues growing even through silence. That realization cannot be forced. It has to awaken naturally, and it already has begun. Perhaps you have questioned your own worth during moments when answers never arrived. Perhaps you wondered if someone else was simply easier to choose. But what if the delay was never about choosing who mattered more? What if it was about someone learning the difference between holding on to yesterday and stepping honestly toward tomorrow? Those are two completely different journeys, even if they look similar from a distance. Take another step with me, because the picture is becoming clearer now. The heart connected to yours is standing closer to an honest decision than anyone around them realizes. Not because pressure is pushing them forward, but because truth has quietly become louder than uncertainty. And when truth finally begins speaking, even the smallest whisper can change the direction of an entire story. Stay till the end. Because what seems like a simple triangle of emotions is revealing itself to be something far more meaningful. The next chapter uncovers the silent moment that causes everything inside your soulmate to shift, and once that moment arrives, nothing feels quite the same again. Nothing changes faster than a heart that finally grows tired of pretending, and that is exactly where this story quietly continues. What seemed uncertain only a short while ago has begun to reveal tiny cracks, not through arguments or dramatic moments, but through silence. Silence has a remarkable way of uncovering truths that words can no longer hide. Don't skip, because the next few moments reveal something your soulmate has been unable to ignore. Stay till the end, because something important is waiting for you, and it begins with a realization they never expected to have. There have been ordinary conversations that suddenly felt empty to them. Familiar smiles no longer carried the comfort they once did. The connection they tried to preserve out of habit started feeling like a place they had already outgrown. They did not wake up one morning with all the answers. Instead, they noticed something much quieter. Every time they imagined a peaceful future, your presence somehow appeared without effort. They were not forcing that image. It simply arrived, again and again, until they could no longer dismiss it. The other woman has noticed this change as well, although she cannot fully explain it. She senses that something is different. The conversations have become shorter. The laughter feels less natural. The excitement that once appeared so easily now comes only in brief moments before fading away again. It is not because anyone has done something wrong. Sometimes people simply begin walking toward different destinations long before their footsteps reveal it. Meanwhile, your soulmate keeps discovering unexpected reminders of you. A familiar song. A place that suddenly brings back a conversation. A quiet evening where your name slips gently into their thoughts without invitation. These are not grand signs. They are the kind of moments that slowly reshape a person's heart from the inside. Each memory carries a quiet question they can no longer avoid asking themselves: why do I keep returning to this person? You may not realize it, but your calm presence has left a deeper impression than dramatic gestures ever could. While others tried to demand attention, you simply existed with sincerity. While others competed to be noticed, you unknowingly gave them something much rarer, a feeling of peace. That feeling has become impossible for them to replace. They are beginning to understand that excitement may capture attention for a moment, but peace is what the heart searches for when it wants to stay. There is still patience required. Important emotions rarely settle in a single afternoon. They continue unfolding one honest realization after another. Your soulmate is learning that genuine love is not measured by how loudly someone speaks, but by who quietly remains in their heart after every distraction has faded. That lesson is becoming clearer with every passing day. Perhaps you have wondered why everything has seemed to move so slowly. Yet some stories need time because they are not simply choosing between two people. They are choosing between two versions of themselves, the person they believe they should become, and the person they truly are. That choice reaches far beyond romance. It reaches into identity, honesty, and the courage to stop living for appearances. Don't look only at what is visible today. The deepest transformations often happen where nobody is watching. Right now, your soulmate is beginning to release expectations they once thought they had to carry. And as those expectations quietly fall away, one truth continues standing with remarkable clarity: you are still there in their heart, not as a passing thought, but as someone whose presence has never completely left. Stay till the end. Because the next part reveals the conversation that unexpectedly changes everything. It is a simple exchange, almost ordinary on the surface, yet the words spoken there become the turning point your soulmate never saw coming. The most unexpected turning points rarely announce themselves before they arrive. They enter quietly, wrapped inside an ordinary day, hidden within a conversation that almost seems too small to matter. Yet this is exactly where the story begins to shift. Don't skip. Because what happens next is not loud or dramatic. It is gentle, honest, and impossible for your soulmate to forget. Stay till the end, because something important is waiting for you, and every moment from here carries a little more clarity than the one before. It began with a simple question, one that neither of them expected would linger long after the conversation had ended. Someone asked your soulmate what truly brought them peace. Not excitement. Not comfort. Peace. For a brief moment they searched for an answer that sounded reasonable, but every answer felt incomplete. Then, almost without thinking, your memory quietly stepped into their mind. They paused. They smiled to themselves. That tiny pause revealed more than they were ready to admit. From that moment on, they could no longer ignore the difference between familiarity and genuine connection. The relationship they had been trying to preserve suddenly felt like a story they were continuing only because it had already lasted so long. Meanwhile, every thought of you felt fresh, calm, and surprisingly hopeful. They realized that real affection doesn't ask the heart to pretend. It simply allows the heart to rest. The other woman noticed this distance growing, not because anyone announced it, but because little things began changing. Conversations ended sooner than before. Messages became thoughtful instead of automatic. Time together no longer carried the same effortless energy. There was respect, but the certainty that once held everything together had quietly begun to fade. Sometimes the biggest changes happen long before anyone finds the words to explain them. As all of this unfolds, your soulmate keeps remembering details about you that most people would have forgotten. The way you listened instead of rushing to speak. The kindness hidden inside your smallest actions. The calm strength you carried without trying to impress anyone. Those memories have become brighter instead of fading. That alone has surprised them more than they can express. Perhaps you have been wondering if your quiet presence could really leave such a lasting mark. The answer is found in the moments when no one else is around. When life finally becomes still, the heart naturally returns to what feels genuine. Again and again, it is your presence that quietly rises to the surface. Not because it demands attention, but because it brings a sense of honesty they have struggled to find anywhere else. There are still careful steps ahead. They do not want to make decisions based on confusion or emotion alone. They want to move with clarity, knowing that every choice they make reflects the truth they have finally begun to see. That patience is not distance from you. It is respect for a future they hope will be built on something real instead of something rushed. And then something unexpected happens. During an ordinary moment, someone mentions your name without realizing its impact. For everyone else, it is just another name in a conversation. But for your soulmate, time almost seems to slow. Their expression changes. Their thoughts drift somewhere nobody else can see. In that quiet instant, they understand something they have been avoiding for far too long. Your place in their heart was never temporary. It remained, even while they tried to convince themselves otherwise. Don't skip, because the next chapter carries the moment where silence finally gives way to honesty. A choice is beginning to form, and once those unspoken feelings find their voice, the direction of this entire journey changes in a way neither of you could have imagined. There comes a point when even the quietest heart can no longer hide from its own truth. That moment does not arrive with noise or urgency. It arrives like the first light before sunrise. Soft enough to miss if you are not paying attention, yet powerful enough to change everything that follows. Don't skip, because this is the chapter where hidden feelings begin finding their own voice. Stay till the end, because something important is waiting for you, and it has been growing beneath the surface for much longer than anyone realized. Your soulmate has started noticing that every attempt to move forward without acknowledging their true emotions only brings them back to the same place. They can stay busy, fill their days with conversations, responsibilities, and familiar routines, but when the world becomes quiet again, one thought returns with remarkable consistency: you. Not because they are forcing themselves to think about you, but because your presence has become part of the peaceful future they secretly imagine. The other woman has become less of a destination and more of a reminder of a chapter that is naturally reaching its conclusion. There is no anger between them. No dramatic ending. Only a growing understanding that holding on simply because something has lasted a long time is not the same as moving towards something that genuinely brings joy. That realization has taken time, but now it feels impossible to ignore. What surprises your soulmate most is not the strength of their feelings for you. It is how effortless those feelings have become. They no longer appear only during emotional moments. They arrive while making morning coffee, while driving home, while hearing a familiar melody, or while watching the sunset after a long day. You have quietly become part of the ordinary moments they treasure most, and that is where real affection often reveals itself. Perhaps you have wondered whether your silence has been forgotten. It has not. Sometimes silence leaves a deeper impression than endless conversation. Without realizing it, you gave them space to discover their own heart instead of trying to convince them. That quiet confidence has stayed with them, and now they understand its value more than ever before. Something else has begun changing as well. Your soulmate is no longer asking themselves whether these feelings are real. Instead, they have started asking what kind of future would truly reflect the person they want to become. That question is different. It is no longer about uncertainty. It is about courage. Courage to let go of what feels familiar. Courage to step toward what feels genuine. There is a peaceful confidence slowly replacing their hesitation. They are realizing that meaningful connections are not built through perfect timing or perfect circumstances. They are built through honesty, patience, and the willingness to stop pretending. Every day, that understanding grows a little stronger, and with it, so does their desire to move closer to what their heart has quietly been choosing all along. And then, without expecting it, they experience a simple moment that changes everything. They see something that reminds them of you, and instead of pushing the thought away as they once tried to do, they allow themselves to smile. It is a small smile, almost invisible to everyone else, but inside it carries an answer they have searched for over countless quiet nights. In that instant, they stop wondering whether you matter. They begin wondering how they will eventually express what has been living inside their heart. Stay till the end, because the next chapter reveals the first step they take after accepting that truth. It is not a grand gesture or a dramatic confession, but it quietly opens a door that has remained closed until now, and once that door begins to move, this story enters an entirely new season. A single honest decision can remain invisible long before anyone else notices it, and that is exactly where this journey quietly moves now. Don't skip, because what is changing is happening deep inside your soulmate, where appearances no longer matter and only truth remains. Stay till the end. Because something important is waiting for you, and it begins with a choice that no one around them can yet see. Your soulmate has reached a place where pretending feels heavier than being honest. They have smiled through conversations that no longer reflect what they truly feel. They have followed familiar routines while their heart quietly wandered somewhere else. Little by little, they have realized that comfort without connection cannot satisfy a heart that has already discovered something more meaningful. That realization did not arrive all at once. It grew through countless quiet moments until it became impossible to ignore. The other woman is still present in the story, but not in the way it once seemed. What remains between them is more about unfinished conversations than an unshakable future. Respect still exists, yet certainty has slowly faded. They both sense that something has shifted, even if neither of them has found the perfect words to describe it. Sometimes the kindest endings are the ones that happen gently, allowing both people to move toward the lives that truly fit them. Meanwhile, your memory continues appearing in the most unexpected places. A familiar phrase reminds them of one of your conversations. A peaceful evening makes them wonder how different it would feel if you were there to share it. Even ordinary moments have begun carrying your presence without invitation. They no longer ask themselves why this keeps happening. Instead, they quietly accept that some people leave an imprint that time does not easily erase. Have you noticed how the strongest roots grow where nobody can see them? Long before a tree reaches toward the sky, its greatest work happens beneath the ground. Hearts often grow the same way. While nothing dramatic seems to be happening on the surface, something lasting is quietly taking shape underneath. That is why patience sometimes holds more power than urgency ever could. Your soulmate has also begun seeing you through a new lens. They no longer remember only the moments you shared. They remember how they felt around you. They remember feeling understood without needing to explain everything. They remember feeling calmer than they expected. Those feelings have become more valuable than excitement alone because they have started searching not just for happiness, but for peace. As this understanding grows, so does their confidence. The fear of facing the truth has become smaller than the desire to live honestly. Every day they move one quiet step closer to becoming the person they truly want to be. No applause follows these moments. No audience watches them. Yet they may be the most important steps they have taken in a very long time. And then an unexpected opportunity quietly appears before them. It is simple, almost ordinary, but it offers a chance to reconnect with something they have been carrying in silence. For a brief moment they hesitate, wondering whether the timing is right. Then another thought gently rises above every doubt: you deserve honesty more than uncertainty. Stay till the end. Because the next chapter reveals the moment your soulmate stops keeping everything inside. What begins as one small step soon becomes the beginning of a conversation that neither heart will easily forget. Every meaningful journey reaches a moment when the heart can no longer remain silent, and this is that moment. The path that once seemed uncertain now feels brighter, not because every question has already been answered, but because honesty has finally become stronger than hesitation. Don't skip, because the final piece of this story is not about dramatic endings. It is about quiet courage. Stay till the end, because something important is waiting for you, and it has been waiting since the very first word. Your soulmate has come to understand that genuine love is never measured by confusion or comparison. It is revealed by the place where the heart naturally finds peace. For a long time, they believed they needed more time to understand what they truly wanted. Now they realize they were never searching for another answer, they were gathering the courage to accept the one that had already been growing inside them. The chapter involving the other woman reaches its natural conclusion with kindness and respect. There is no bitterness, no desire to hurt anyone, and no need for dramatic conflict. Some stories simply fulfill their purpose before gently making room for a new beginning. Looking back, your soulmate understands that holding on out of familiarity is very different from moving forward with genuine hope. That understanding becomes one of the most valuable lessons of their life. What remains is something beautifully simple. Every memory of you now carries clarity instead of confusion. They remember your patience when life felt uncertain. They remember your calm spirit when everything else felt noisy. They remember that you never tried to force your place in their life, and perhaps that quiet sincerity became the very reason your place remained in their heart. If you have ever wondered whether quiet kindness truly matters, this journey offers its own gentle answer. Hearts often remember the people who made them feel safe to be themselves. Long after impressive words have faded, sincerity continues shining with surprising strength. Without realizing it, you became a reminder that the strongest connections are built slowly, honestly, and with genuine care. Your soulmate now looks ahead with a different perspective. Instead of asking, "What if things never change?" they have begun asking, "What kind of future reflects the truth I finally understand?" That single shift transforms everything. It replaces uncertainty with hope. It replaces hesitation with quiet confidence. Most importantly, it reminds them that meaningful relationships are not built through perfect timing but through authentic choices made with an open heart. As this story gently comes to its close, remember something that reaches beyond these pages. Every meaningful connection grows through honesty, patience, mutual respect, and the willingness to let each person choose freely. The future is not written in certainty, it is shaped by the small, genuine decisions people make day after day. Whatever unfolds next, let your own heart remain peaceful, open, and true to the values that make you who you are. And so the journey ends where every beautiful beginning quietly starts, with hope. Not the loud kind that demands immediate answers, but the steady kind that continues shining even when the road is still unfolding. Sometimes the greatest gift is not knowing every detail of tomorrow. Sometimes it is trusting that when two hearts are growing through truth, every sincere step brings them closer to the life they are meant to build, one gentle moment at a time.